Welcome back to another episode of Cut the Cake, your real talk podcast on all things wedding planning in Australia for engaged couples and our beautiful wedding industry friends. My name is Melanie. I'm a wedding planner and owner of Melly Rain Creative, and I am joined by Tanya, owner of Event Wanderer Co. and a fabulous stationer.
Thank you very much, my dear. Appreciate that.
How are you?
I'm very, very well, and looking forward to this episode because we've just been having a bit of a joke about this, but we're going to give you guys a bit of background on us.
I know.
Because it's been a long time since we've done this.
I know. If you scroll through the podcast list on Cut the Cake and go right to the bottom, there'll be one that's like, meet your host. And it's our very first podcast episode where we spoke about who we are and our background and what we do in the wedding industry.
We were very green.
We were so green. And we're like, let's talk about why we start this podcast. But anyway,
2 years later.
2 years later, we're still here. And we thought, let's do a bit of a refresher because potentially people aren't going to scroll all the way to the bottom.
No.
So.
But also, we've evolved as well.
Yeah, like our background hasn't changed.
Our background hasn't changed.
Yeah, but.
Can't rewrite history.
But I'm sure our businesses have evolved.
Yes.
So we thought, particularly for those who have listened to a few of our episodes going, oh yeah, like they sound really cool, but how do they know what they're doing? So this is us telling you who we are, what we do, and why we're so good at what we do.
Exactly.
So cool. We're going to talk through a little bit about both of our businesses. We're going to dive into too much nitty gritty just to give you an overview, give you a bit of a insight into our background because I think our background is quite interesting and how we came into what we're doing right now.
How we met,
and the whole, I guess, evolvement of Cut the Cake. So I'll kick it off.
You start.
My name is Melanie. I'm the founder of Melly Rain Creative. Okay, and for those who don't know, I'm a wedding planner. I specialise in wedding celebrations throughout regional Victoria. I might do a city wedding every now and then, but my heart is with countryside weddings.
Which we love.
I just think there's nothing more magical than a countryside wedding with rolling hills and just that beautiful landscape. So my focus when I'm working with couples is very collaborative. So I want to include couples in the whole planning process and not be that planner that takes over and tells them all the things that they have to do. I'm there to guide, give expert guidance and opinions and suggestions and solutions to so many things in the whole wedding planning process. So I can be as involved as I need to be or, get that guidance from a very far, far distance. My focus has always been creating a day that's full of meaning for the couple and the amount of conversations that I have saying, what do you want? What do you want? Not, what the trends are or what your family want. That has always been a huge focus of mine. And I'm very, very honest. Like the amount of people that say, you're very truthful and you just tell me what I need to hear. I'm like, well, that is the point of what I do. We're not here to stuff around.
I love that about you though. Like you will tell couples whether or not they're on the right track and you will tell them if their ideas are terrible.
Yep.
Not that happens very often. But yeah, it is.
The amount of people that say to me, you are very diplomatic and calm in how you approach a conversation. Like, well, that is probably a lot to do with my background in major events, which we
requires a level of diplomacy.
We'll get into. But yeah, like I said, my specialty is regional Victoria, more destination type. So that is where, I have a lot of my wedding planning intel. I do a very quality over quantity approach when it comes to weddings. So I may do anywhere from 15 to 20 weddings a year. I will not do any more than one wedding a weekend, and I will not do any more than 2 or 3 a month because I want to give my heart and soul to every single couple that I work with, and I cannot do that when I have 2 weddings on the same weekend.
Because you can't be in 2 places at once.
I absolutely cannot. So in terms of my services, I'm going to really skim over them because if you really want to know more about them, jump on my website and look at my services package page. But I offer full wedding planning, so that's full end-to-end support from A to Z, partial planning where I come in and I guide if you want to be more involved in the planning process and take ownership of more of that. I do offer an on-the-day coordination service. However, I only provide that myself if I'm part of the planning process. I have a beautiful team of coordinators who do provide on-the-day coordination as a sole service, so we do that as well. And they also offer one-on-one planning online consultations. So it's great for people who don't want like the full shebang of a wedding planner but want some guidance, pick my brain for an hour, go off and go forth with your own wedding planning.
And I love that because it is like it's that last service that you offer that is just the little thing that, people who are organised, they know it, but they just almost need that one little person.
They just want reassurance.
Blocks. Exactly.
They
that
want
reassurance element from a neutral third party who's not a family member.
Exactly. And I should also say that like I do work at a lot of established venues, but like my specialty is more those private estates, private properties, places like that where it's a bit more of a blank canvas and you need someone like me to come in and really take the reins.
100%.
So anyway, that's enough about me. Let's talk about you.
About me. So my name is Tanya and I run the Event Wanderer Co. and that is all things stationery and signage. Not that our name would tell you that. The name itself is deeply personal because, one, I have an event background, but then I love there's a saying out of The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, which is all those who wander are not lost. And I have always loved that for the last 20 odd years, and it is the concept of the wandering. And particularly for myself, I like to be able to do my job anywhere. I love the fact that I can just design from the beach or a mountaintop or anything like that. So hence the reason the word wanderer got kind of thrown into our name. But yes, I do stationery, signage, anything for your wedding day that involves printing and fonts and graphic design. We can pretty much do the lot of it. We do dance floor decals occasionally. We do bar decals.
Do everything.
We do everything. And I think the biggest thing for me is that if you have a vision and you even have the most abstract idea, I will sit there and try and figure out how we make this happen. And
yeah, that's so true.
It is so much fun to actually be able to do that because I love a bit of out-of-the-box thinking. So we are based in Gippsland, so down towards Phillip Island, a tiny little town about 10 minutes away from Phillip Island called Coronet Bay. It is beautiful. It is population 500 people or a little bit more, but it is our heaven down there and it's just a beautiful space that provides a lot of inspiration. And, yeah, I absolutely adore working from there. Big part of our team is my partner who has literally kind of backed this business since the very beginning when I told him this is what we were going to do. He knows now more about weddings than I probably do.
He's very passionate.
But he's very passionate, but he's also like my number one salesman. He can talk about it more than what I can, which makes me laugh. And he does put up with me having random stuff all around our shared office. So
he's great at expos for you.
Great at expos. He loves it, even though he won't actually say that. And he also edits this podcast, so he's probably listening to this now going, what are you talking about? But I think for me, I have always had a love of stationery back even to when I was a kid. So from making hand-pressed cards with rubber stamp and ink and all that type of stuff all over my parents' dining table to where we are now, it's just kind of a natural evolution to have a stationery company. My key thing though, and this is probably different from where I was 2 years ago when we first did this podcast, is my thing now is all custom design. Like I do more custom work than I do anything else for my clients. And I love that because I get to create something that is unique to every single client.
Yep.
The other side of our business is also supporting people who are doing their own designing. And I have been one of these ones. I love Canva. I'm a big advocate for Canva because I love the fact that it puts the power of design back in your hands and you can create it yourself. And there is a element of pride that I feel anyone can take away in designing something themselves, no matter how long it takes to design. And the fact that I can support couples from a DIY point of view too, like with their printing. And
You've
this
got
is
it
what
all
we
covered.
do. Yeah, and for me, there are two biggest services that we offer. It's the custom side of things. So the complete, you do the designing, we just tell you what we want.
Yep.
Versus we'll do the designing, now you support us in the production. And yeah, that second part, that designing side, the designing, but the printing side of it, that's evolved over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's evolved out of a change in the landscape of, the cost of living, people trying to
Be
cut
savvy.
down. Exactly, be savvy, cut down costs. And it was more we either join them or we fight them.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you want to fight it? Let's actually, join people, help people achieve their dreams. And yeah, that's where our little business comes from and I love it.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's a cute little business.
It's a cute little
I shouldn't
business.
say cute little business. It's a thriving, huge business.
No, because cute little business and thrive, like it's thriving. I think a lot like Mel, and I probably should have said this earlier, I'm a lot like you. I don't take on an abundance of work.
That's true.
I literally will do no more than 2 weddings a month because I want to be able to ensure that I'm able to give my clients all of my details.
Your level of customer service is huge.
Yeah. And I love it though. Like I am quite happy to sit here and say, yes, if you come to me and you want your stuff delivered to the venue the day of the wedding, I'll go and do it because I get to go to the venue too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do love doing all of that and working with venues and working with coordinators and other vendors. It's a key part of our industry is getting to know other people and collaboration. And you only get that through actually visiting and speaking to people. And so, if you say to me that you need your sign set up in the botanical gardens, I'll go and do it. Gets me out of the house too, which I love.
All right, let's talk about our background because, like I said, it's unique.
It is unique.
The fact that we have actually, crossed paths and joined forces is mind-blowing given what we did. So,
but the fact that we never actually met each other doing what we did is really, really crazy at the end of the day.
People listening, what did you do? Tell me what you did. Okay. So my background, I actually have a bit of a multitude of background, but I'm only going to focus on my background prior to weddings.
Yes.
Because prior to that, it was all health and fitness, which has nothing to do with what we do now. So prior to Melly Rain Creative, I was an event manager at a place called Melbourne Olympic Parks. So for those who are familiar with Melbourne and the landscape of Melbourne, there's a couple of big arenas and stadiums there. So Amy Park, Margaret Court Arena, Rod Laver Arena, John Cain Arena. My home was Amy Park and Margaret Court Arena. Yep. So the events that were there, I was one of the event managers that helped to bring those events to life. So lots of major sport, major entertainment events. We're talking, let's name drop a few things. Paul McCartney, Sia, Melbourne Rebels, Melbourne Fashion Week, Troye Sivan. Like, not that I met all these people, but they put on their events in these venues and stadiums that I was helping to manage. So in terms of my background, I have a huge background in logistics, customer service, staffing management, and a big one, which we always bang on about, is guest experience.
100%.
So those, I believe, key elements that I transfer into my wedding planning really have a point of difference compared to potentially other planners who really specialize in creativity or something like that. Like, yes, I have that side of me as well, which is why I love what I do because I couldn't get that in my previous employments. But the logistics and the guest experience side of things, that's a big factor that I take into the planning side of things when it comes to weddings, which really helps to create that seamless day because
100%.
You can't have that without any of that.
No.
So in terms of how I kind of came into weddings, it was by chance, and apologies for people who have heard this story a million times, but my little brother was getting married on our private family property. I was working in the events in Melbourne. He asked if I could help. I said, sure, how hard can planning a wedding be? Because I was so naive. And I know,
Green.
Famous last words. So I did it. I was like, oh my God, there is so much more involved than what I thought. But I loved it. I loved the logistics and that guest experience and the creativity that I was able to tap into. So over time, I started Melly Rain Creative, focused more on those regional-based weddings, and I transitioned into weddings.
100%.
I have been doing Melly Rain Creative. Well, technically, my little brother's wedding was in 2018. I didn't really go full-blown Melly Rain Creative until 2020. Yep. So we're about 6 years now, 2026. But yeah, that's my background and how I kind of segued into the world of weddings.
There you go. And the funniest part of all of that is that my background is I was an event operations manager for Tennis Australia. So, and incidentally, during the Australian Open, the area that I was based in was Margaret Court Arena, which makes me like, this is why we can't figure out how we never actually crossed paths. We've probably walked past each other numerous times. But
for those who don't know, like where Melbourne Olympic Parks is, like it's a huge area.
Yes.
And then there's a big building that has all the offices in there.
Yep.
And a couple of levels of that is Tennis Australia and a couple levels of that is Melbourne Olympic Parks. That's if it's still like that. We haven't been there for a while. But
pretty certain it is.
The chances of us actually being in the same elevator are quite high.
Oh, 100%.
So we absolutely would have seen each other, but we did not know of each other.
Yeah. So obviously, small world being at Melbourne Olympic Parks, but my job specifically during the Australian Open was I ran the Ball Kids program, which in itself is a logistical monstrosity, and I loved every single minute of it. So if you're unfamiliar with tennis and you don't know who the ball kids are, they're the 6 little kids that you see on court running around chasing the balls. They used to service players with towels. They don't do that anymore for hygiene reasons, but that's post my time. And we're talking about 400 plus kids and their parents and 50 staff I think I had at one stage as well. So event logistics is a huge part of what I used to do. Staff management's a huge part of what I used to do. And then because I was working with kids, I also got to be really creative because we were looking at things for the kids and it's like, how do we make things interactive? How do we make it appealing? How do we do all these things? And I loved it because my job just wasn't logistics and planning, but it was creativity. So I got the best of both worlds. I also got to travel a lot overseas and I am so incredibly grateful to this day for the world that was opened up to me through that job. So I've been to South Korea, I've been to Paris multiple times. So going to those cities as well, particularly Paris, I adore because, again, the landscape, the architecture, there's so much creativity.
Inspiration.
Oh, it is. It's beautiful. And I do draw on those experiences quite a lot in terms of what I do now. So I was fortunate enough to leave Tennis Australia just before COVID hit. So I missed all those COVID years and I've still got a lot of friends who lived through that and I've got so much respect for all of the event side of things that they did during that time. But while they were doing that, I was off kind of studying graphic design, becoming a website designer as well, which is what I do, and kind of delving into the creative side of things. And then I ended up in weddings just by sheer fluke when one of my website design clients happened to be a wedding planner, not Mel, another one. Another dear friend of mine now called Amy. She approached me and she's like, I've got a client getting married. They want this specific seating chart and it needed a gold decal and no other printer in Melbourne was able to actually do it at that particular point in time. I reached out to some old contacts through tennis. Lo and behold, 2 days later, seating chart done, happy days. And that was kind of the start of my wedding stationery side of things. But as I said earlier, it's something that I've always loved since from when I was a kid and it all kind of just came together that it was like we may as well just create this business and see where it takes us.
It's just so funny that we had that connection.
Oh, 100%.
And then we both ended up in the wedding industry. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we connected through Instagram.
Yes, we did.
And then there was a styled shoot
that
we potentially did together. Yep. And then just through those conversations,
here we are,
we were like,
nearly 3 years later.
On the Australian Open and how weird. And we probably walked past each other for years. And
I think this is the thing, and I know you'll agree with this, in how you've just said, like, we bring all of that event experience from Tennis Australia, Melbourne Olympic Parks to what we do now. And it's different to anything else because once you've been through a major event, you become acutely aware of everything.
Yep.
And the event
you have to be.
You have to be. And the event ecosystem, whether or not it's a wedding, a kid's birthday party, your mother-in-law's 80th, which I've just done, there's like this ecosystem that goes through any level of an event.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether or not you're a wedding planner or a stationer, but having that knowledge and that background, we bring that now to what we do.
Yeah.
And I am incredibly grateful.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that we've learnt that too. Like I know a girlfriend of mine who I used to work with, worked with her for nearly a decade at tennis. She's now an amazing interior designer. She's about to do the reno on my home, funnily enough. And literally we were sitting there in my kitchen one day and having this conversation about remodelling our bathroom to be accessible because we're thinking about when we get older. And it's something as simple as that. And we're literally just sitting here going, accessibility, accessibility, accessibility. And we're cracking ourselves laughing and everyone's looking at us going, what are you talking about? And it's just this little thing that was ingrained into us.
Yeah.
It's like
and it's not in everyone's repertoire.
No, but it's so funny how those things we're now bringing into our businesses as well and actually using it to up-level our client experience.
And I think that's a huge point of difference with both of what we do. Like our background really drives how we operate in both of our businesses. But it's just a fun thing to share because not everyone is aware of it.
No.
So, this has been a little bit of an insight about us, what we do, where we're from. And the whole reason we started this podcast was to just talk through our experiences and to give some honest truths around wedding planning and the wedding industry and just have a good chin wagon, really.
Exactly. And if you haven't listened to any of our previous episodes, then please do because you will see us just ramble on about a lot of stuff that we love.
So true. So we might leave it there.
Yes.
Keeping these nice and short and sweet in 2026. But any questions, any topics you want us to talk about, jump on our Instagram @CutTheCakePodcast, reach out to Tanya @Event Wanderer Co. or myself at Melly Rain Creative. And till next time, we will chat soon.
We'll see you later.